Hello, in this video I am going to show you how to do transparent thresholding in BrainVoyager statistical maps. Here I have opened a T1 weighted anatomical image, as you see here, and I am going to link a VTC volume. This is the fMRI time courses, which is already there. Okay, once the fMRI time courses are linked, then I go to analysis and select general linear model single study. And here I simply do define predictors. These are all set correctly. I checked beforehand. And we say go. After a bit of waiting, there is a statistical map that we are used to seeing from fMRI analyses. And here you can see that in this visual part of the brain, we have a lot of activity. This is as expected because in this data set, the stimulation is done by showing bodies, faces, hands, and scrambled images to a subject. And now we are looking at a contrast that is between all of them versus the baseline or just pure fixation. But that's actually besides the point. We see the activity here. So now I'm going to show you how to do, instead of this opaque thresholding, transparent thresholding. So what do I mean by that will be clear soon. Okay, I go to analysis and I choose overlay volume maps. And in this menu is the result of my GLM. That is the map that we are seeing here. And if we go to the statistics menu, there we are going to see a couple of options. One of the option is actually hidden here in this little options menu. We click there, and there we see the following: transparency scales with significance versus transparency value is fixed to 1.0. So if I select transparency scales with significance and press OK, now the red that I was seeing before, that is surviving from my thresholding, did have a transparency assigned to it. And let's have a look at it maybe in a bit more zoomed view. So we can see that these very bright spots, and you can have a look at this p-value that's written on the screen right next to the cursor. That p-value is very, very small, or very, very close to zero, let's say. Whereas in a less red region, let's say a bit more transparent region, that p-value is higher, as you see. Okay, so this is how we scale the result with the significance. There's another way of using this option, and that is when we want to have a look at an unthresholded map. So there are two ways of doing it. One way is going towards this left vertical menu and clicking on this big yellow button. And if you click on it enough times, you will basically have a version of your statistical map that has no thresholding other than direct zeros being eliminated. Okay, so here we can activate the same transparency option again. We click on options and say transparency scales with significance. And there now, once we enable that, we have a maybe a bit more comprehensive vision of our activity, namely seeing the sub-threshold patterns that we were not seeing before. This can also be adjusted a bit further. For instance, we can say set threshold manually and actually choose the minimum as the 0, which is the case here. And maximum, we can decrease it to, let's say, 4 to make the colors a bit more vibrant, or maybe even 3 to highlight this sub-threshold or like less extreme values. Okay, let's put it on 4. And as you can see, for instance, around the eyes, now this way of visualizing our data show us maybe some patterns that we were previously unaware. Then let us look into our statistical maps in a bit more detail. Of course, we can just enable the, let's say, FDR thresholding. We can, of course, turn off the transparency if we wish to see the maps without a transparency value, for instance, here. So I hope you find this option useful, and that's all for today. Thank you. Oh, one side note that I forgot to mention is that the dataset that I have used in this video tutorial is taken from the following website, Newbie for fMRI. I have discovered this website recently and I benefit from it quite a bit. They have a very good dataset that, especially if you are using BrainVoyager and if you would like to get started from somewhere, this is a good address to start from. I just wanted to mention this at the end of the video. Thanks for listening.